Well, over the course of the last several months, my poop news radar has gone back on.
Dueling decades.
All right, Joe Finley, you tie up this game, but more importantly, you take control of the board heading into our final 1-point round. What category are we going with next?
What's my choice?
Oh, you got some choices? I'm going to take this choice. I've earned it.
What's your choice?
I'm really like digging the suspense right now, but I already knew what I was going to pick. We're going with the news, guys.
Oh,
The news.
The news.
The news.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, let us go to, we got it right here, September 3rd, 1995. And a little internet company gets started, and they bring to us something we've never had before, the ability to have an auction online. September 3rd is the founding of eBay. The very first item ever sold on the auction web was a broken laser pointer that sold for $14.83. The man who founded the company actually reached out to the person who bought it and said, "You understand that this laser pointer is broken, right?" And they said, "Yes, I understand. I collect broken laser pointers." And he right away knew that this was going to be a gigantic deal. So the company goes on to, has now, 13,000 employees. It's worth $48.6 billion. Actually, on my reading about it, it's actually one of the major reasons of the boom of Beanie Babies, because they were so hard to come by that the prices got jacked up on auction websites like eBay. So,
those too.
Yeah. So it was interesting, but just the coverage of this new weird little auction website and how it was so out of the norm and nobody knew if it was going to do anything. That's what I give you. September 3rd, 1995, the founding of eBay.
it's a good one. Guess what I did last night when I was at the studio waiting for somebody to wrap up? I was waiting for my wife and I collect concert posters of concerts that we've gone to. And now I buy the concert poster when I go, but like in years past, I've just been a dickhead, been drunk or whatever, and just not bought them. So when we saw Guns N' Roses 4 years ago, or 5 years ago now, 2016, I did not buy that poster. And somebody listed that lithograph on eBay. And it ended last night while I was at the studio, and I ended up getting it and I was really happy. Like overall, I ended up paying like $98, I think, for it. But some of these posters, some of these lithographs are fucking insane. Some of the Pearl Jam ones are like $2,000-$3,000.
Oh
wow.
So next time you go to a concert, buy the poster. Go bring it back to your car, and then you can get drunk.
All right, Man Crush, you're up next. What did you bring for the news round?
Oh, that was my news. Fuck. Now let's go. September 22nd, 1985. So a lot of you that listen to the show are probably aware of this, but we used to have this show called Poop Culture, right? And one of the things that we did on Poop Culture was this bit called Poop News, where we would just find like stupid news and we report on it. And somewhere along the way, we started doing decades. And at least me personally, I got away from covering poop news and started to report it on actual news, from years gone by for the news round. Well, over the course of the last several months, my poop news radar has gone back on. And that's all I'm ever scouring for. And those articles go something like this one. And this is, the title of this article is Emmy Imposter May Face Charges. So I'll give you the short part of this article and then I'll get into it. An imposter went on stage last night on national television and accepted the Best Supporting Actress Award for Betty Thomas of NBC's Hill Street Blues and was promptly jailed for attempted grand theft on Sunday night. A man police identified as Barry Bremen, 38, of West Bloomfield, Michigan, was led away in handcuffs after leaving the stage of the Pasadena Civic Auditorium. He accepted the Emmy Award after walking up on stage during the award ceremony and telling Peter Graves, "Hey, Betty Thomas is absent. I'm here to pick it up for her." Funny thing was, Betty was there, and she also walked up on stage while this guy was accepting the award. The clip is on fucking YouTube. Just look up Barry Bremen Emmy Award 1985. You'll find it. It's hysterical. Anyhow, with that said, I do what I always do, and I kept searching for his name. And Mr. Bremen, he popped up in another article from September 29th. And this one was called Bremen Should Get an Emmy for Being a Con Man. And let me just rip through this article because it's amazing. And I think we always we deserve both sides of the story, right? We can't just have this is his story. Barry Bremen got an Emmy Award the other night. To be specific, Barry Bremen got someone else's Emmy the other night. Then Bremen got arrested. They thought I was serious, said Bremen. Me, serious? Barry Bremen, who stealthily put on a two-piece outfit and a blonde wig along the sideline and became a Dallas Cowboys cheerleader? Barry Bremen, who showed up at home plate the first game of the 1980 World Series dressed as an umpire? Barry Bremen, who wore a Yankee uniform on the field during batting practice before the 1979 baseball All-Star game at Seattle, but was ejected when he tried to pose for the team picture? How could anyone think that Barry Bremen was serious? Crazy? Absolutely, but not serious. The police in Pasadena who arrested Bremen after the Emmy ceremonies and charged him with grand theft for allegedly trying to take the statuette were serious. Bremen was jailed until he paid a $150 fine, or actually bail. But then Bremen found out, I'm just a great imposter, said Bremen. And the Emmy is only worth $150. So that's not even grand theft. I didn't do anything to hurt anybody. What I do is harmless. I'm just having fun. I get my yucks, and so does everyone else. Not everyone. When a few years ago, Bremen stripped down to a blue and white bra and shorts worn by the Cowboys cheerleaders, a couple of security men at Texas Stadium muscled him around as if he was public enemy number one. That clip is actually online too. It's pretty funny. The Cowboys sued me for $10,000 and called me a pervert, Bremen said. Nobody ever accused the Cowboys of having a sense of humor, though. Nobody ever accused Bremen of having a sense of humility. A 38-year-old Michigan State graduate who resides in the Michigan suburb of West Bloomfield, Bremen will do anything for publicity and gratification. And here's a quote from him. He said, I work for a company that sells products like Famous Amos cookies and Coleman brushes to big retail firms like Kmart, Vons, blah, blah, blah. Amos may be famous. Bremen is remarkable. I've been on Johnny Carson, said Bremen, David Letterman, Larry King. I helped raise money for the March of Dimes. I've met George Brett, Dick Schaap. That would not have happened to a manufacturer's rep, would it? Bremen's activities have been sports related until the Emmy presentations. Bremen, who was in California on a business trip, purchased his third row ticket for $300 using his real name, which he always does. And the excuse that he told them he was there from a small station in Michigan. And here's another quote from him. He said, I already had a tuxedo and I had a pretty decent suntan, sort of looked like I was from Hollywood. Bremen sat patiently waiting through the program. Peter Graves came out to give the award for outstanding supporting actress in a drama series. And here's another quote from him. He said, Peter Graves, Mission Impossible, the music, it was natural. Betty Thomas, her name was called. There was a hesitation. I didn't think she was there. I went up. I accepted for her. When she walked up, I felt bad. I'd like to apologize, but I didn't want to ruin it for her. But she got flustered. She was way too serious. Instead of making a joke out of it, you know what? I have a great idea, Thomas said. She's on Hill Street Blues and she plays a cop. They could hire me and I'll work as a thief or a lunatic, whatever they want. Bremen's escapade started in February 1979 when on a $300 bet, he got into the Kansas City Kings warm-up suit and took layup drills with the players before the NBA All-Star game in the Pontiac Silverdome. This summer, he played practice. I had to read this whole thing because it's fucking too crazy. This summer, he played a practice round before the U.S. Open golf tournament with Curtis Strange, Jay Haas, and Fred Couples. It was the most fun I ever had. I have something better planned for the future, and it says we can hardly wait. Sadly, Barry Bremen, he passed away in 2011, at the age of 64. But seriously, like, I love shit like this. You know what? He even had a Jeopardy question based on him accepting that Emmy Award right there. His fines were never more than $500. Totally worth it. and he said that the whole thing at the Emmys was like his crowning achievement. So I think this is where we cue up Tepper singing "The Great Pretender" by the Platters. That's what he was. Go on YouTube though, check it out. Like regardless if I win this round or not, go on YouTube. Just look up Barry Bremen, and it's Breman, and some like just hilarious videos.
Yeah, I remember seeing all those clips and like the not so great moments in sports and all the different sports bloopers tapes you could get.
Oh, dude, it's so funny. He just goes up on stage like nothing. He's in a tux and he's just accepting the award. And Betty Thomas like walks up on stage and he does like this quick. He looks at her and does like this quick about face because he knew he was about to get arrested and just like walks off.
Goodbye.
It's fucking classic though.
That's great.
All right, guys. So for my news this week, let's go to the bottom of the comics page in the Philadelphia Daily News of all places for some sound health advice. September 16th, 1975, we're going to scroll down to the bottom of the comics page. In the lower right-hand corner, there's an article right next to like the kids' word jumble. And this article has the headline, X-ray shield for genitals urged. Human reproductive organs should be shielded during abdominal X-ray examinations, even though doctors and technicians now rarely offer the patients the opportunity, the Food and Drug Administration said yesterday. The agency said it would publish voluntary guidelines recommending the routine use of such shields. Gonad shielding is an easy way we can guard against any unwanted genetic changes that can result from long-term radiation exposure. The agency said several types of shields are available. One involves the use of a plate between the X-ray machine and the patient to protect the male testes or the female ovaries. The other types consist of a pair of shorts with a protective lead cup for the male and an apron-style device for the female. Now, as we all know, this type of shielding and protection from X-rays is very commonplace and very highly regulated, and you have to do it. Back in 1975, they weren't even offering this as an option. So, from now on, thanks to the comics section in the Philadelphia Daily News, everyone's going to be safe. Protect your nuts, people. So, I give you some sound health advice. September 16th, 1975.
Very cool. Very cool. Wow. They're all good. They're all good. So let's see. So this guy who went up on stage and so what's it? Robert Freeman, is that his name?
Barry Bremen.
Barry Freeman. Right? So it's a BF. You've done a BF. So here I am. I was a huge Joni Mitchell fan, right? Loved Joni Mitchell. And I'm like 17 years old and, couldn't get any. She's playing at Carnegie Hall and I'm like, I'm going, man. I am going. Come on, guys. Somebody come with me. Somebody come with me to see Joni. Nobody. I go to Carnegie Hall. I get a ticket. I sit down. I'm like, it wasn't a great seat, but it wasn't a horrible seat either. The show is over. Joni hits her last notes, walks off stage. I sit there and wait until the whole place is empty. Everybody's left. I walk up on stage and I go backstage and some guy says to me, hey, you going to the party? I go, yeah, where is it again? So I pulled up Barry Freeman. I go to this party. It's on Central Park South. I get in the elevator. Now, remember, nobody would go with me. This is time when people were doing many drugs of all kinds, okay? I have hair down here. I look like Jesus. I have overalls on, a full beard. It's darker, but it was a full beard. The door opens. There's Neil Young. There's Jackson Browne. There's Bernie Taupin, Bernie Taupin's wife, Joni. And I died and went to heaven, okay? This was like, oh, my God. So, I mean, it's so cool that Barry did this kind of stuff because years and years and years and years later, Howard Stern would make a living at. Who was the guy who always used to do that stuff, right? And he had the guy was, I forget what his name was. He had like a weird name, but he would send them to all these things. And if you got punked by the idea was to get punked by him.
Yep.
You know? And so he's probably an icon in that business, you know.
Oh, sure.
Okay. Buying things online. Oh my God. Huge. I mean, it's great. It's great. I still haven't figured out eBay how you learn, like, how much was this worth? How did people, it's just like, it was beyond me. But, and all that stuff kind of contributes to how the world's going to finally end one day from all those companies, And, because someone's going to, an atomic bomb looks slightly broken. I think I'll buy it. How much? $6,000. I love it,
A bag of pubes?
Come on, this is great.
I'm looking
And,
at
as far as lead cups, I was old enough to, I remember when you went to the dentist and they put that sheet on you and all that stuff. I got to give it to Barry, man. Man Crush, you get it. You went on a little long.
I had to give the whole thing because if you just have the one.
Well,
like,
knowing you,
I
I know you had to, but you didn't have to. But I appreciate it.
I'll take it either way.
But either way, that guy is so crazy. That became a comic industry doing that. That's pretty amazing.
And I think it was Mr. Jenks that you're talking about from
No.
Stern?
What was his name? John something crazy, something John.
Oh, Stuttering John?
Stuttering John. That was his job on Howard Stern. Right. He would be, get himself in all these things. You go to yoga classes and start partying, you know what I mean? Like, as they get positions, it was an early on, Howard Stern bit, like Find the Jew. Remember, you'd have fun.
Oh God, he had so.
The
guys that did the prank calls were my favorite.
Prank calls were great. But
Sal.
That actually became a form of comedy. It's pretty.
Oh, fun. So good. Sal and Richard Christie used to kill it.
Yes.